5 days have passed since the horrifying tragedy at the Brentwood residence, yet newly emerging details continue to send chills through the public. A hypothetical forensic reconstruction has outlined the presumed sequence of the attack, revealing the moment when Nick struck and delivered fatal wounds to critical areas of the body. Among them was a deep slash across Rob's neck, accompanied by a chilling phrase allegedly spoken during the assault. Each re-examined detail paints a suffocatingly painful picture of what unfolded behind closed doors. The roots of the tragedy appear to trace back to a heated argument at a Christmas gathering hosted by Conan O'Brien, where Nick reportedly displayed increasingly unstable behavior. Witnesses later described his demeanor as erratic and unsettling. After the crime, he allegedly left the scene with disturbing calm, checked into a hotel, and began moving through the city while avoiding contact. It is believed he used inheritance funds to retain one of the most prominent defense attorneys in the country, a move that shocked both the public and those close to the family. Investigators began reconstructing the timeline from that tense family dinner onward. According to a fictional indictment, the attack occurred sometime between shortly after midnight and the early morning hours. Nick reportedly left his room quietly and entered the main house, fully familiar with the layout and able to move without resistance. There were no signs of forced entry. After the attack, he departed immediately, carrying either panic or calculated detachment only he could explain. Several hours later, he appeared at a modest hotel in Santa Monica, checking in without drawing attention. Surveillance footage later showed him wandering, restless, neither sleeping nor making calls, as if seeking temporary refuge while mentally unraveling. By mid-afternoon, the tragedy was discovered when a scheduled visitor arrived and received no response. A family member rushed to the house and made the devastating discovery, prompting an emergency call. Police soon located the second victim nearby. While authorities and loved ones confronted the unimaginable, Nick remained unaccounted for. That evening, security cameras captured him at a gas station purchasing a sports drink, visibly anxious yet composed enough to complete the transaction. Minutes later, law enforcement officers surrounded and arrested him without resistance. Image from the arrest showed a hollow, exhausted expression and complete silence. Forensic estimates, based on body temperature and rigor mortis, suggested the victims had died several hours before discovery. Investigators noted the possibility that Nick attempted to clean himself either at the scene or afterward. Though traces may have remained, the weapon was believed to be an opportunistic household item, allowing for swift and devastating force. Without preparation, the familiarity of the environment enabled precision, turning a once safe home into a blood-soaked crime scene. Subsequent forensic analysis revealed multiple stab and slash wounds. What was initially believed to be a single fatal injury was later understood as a prolonged and violent assault. Experts emphasized that such injuries indicate deliberate intent, close proximity, and sustained force. The combination of deep punctures and long slashes suggested a sequence of actions rather than a momentary outburst. From a forensic standpoint, such acts require physical control, pressure, and repeated motion, making the violence especially personal and horrifying. Blood spatter, evidence indicated, severe vascular damage, consistent with neck injuries combined with additional wounds. The scale of blood loss reinforced the conclusion that the attack was prolonged. All evidence pointed toward the only individual with unrestricted access to the room and intimate knowledge of the household. As legal proceedings began, attention turned to the cost of Nick's defense. His attorney, known nationally for handling the most complex cases, declined to comment on who was funding the representation. Sources later claimed that legal fees were being drawn from a family estate valued in the hundreds of millions. Surviving relatives reportedly supported this decision, believing a psychiatric commitment might align more closely with what the parents would have wanted than a lifetime prison sentence. While legally permissible prior to conviction, the decision sparked intense public debate. Nick's first court appearance was brief and emotionally sterile. Cameras were barred. He appeared in standard custody attire and spoke only once, formally acknowledging his rights. The hearing ended quickly, leaving the public unsettled by the absence of emotion and explanation. A future court date was set, drawing national attention to what was expected to become a prolonged and highly scrutinized case. Behind the legal process lay a long history of addiction. From adolescence, Nick struggled with substance abuse, cycling through rehabilitation programs and relapses. Despite relentless parental support, financial, emotional, and professional stability remained elusive. Periods of sobriety were followed by severe relapses, homelessness, and dangerous behavior. Attempts at tough love alternated with renewed support, creating a fragile balance that never fully held. A brief period of recovery once brought hope, including a collaborative creative project with his father. That hope eventually collapsed under renewed addiction and escalating instability. In later years, Nick returned to the family home under supervision, though concern over his mental state grew steadily. In the months before the tragedy, those closest to the family sensed that something was deeply wrong. The night before the killings, tensions peaked at the holiday gathering. Nick's behavior unsettled guests. He stood apart, questioned people intensely, and violated personal boundaries. The situation culminated in a public argument between father and son, loud enough to draw attention. The family left early, visibly distressed. Nick remained behind, his mood dark and unreadable. Hours later, the consequences of years of struggle, fear, and unresolved conflict reached a catastrophic end. What remained was grief, unanswered questions, and a family forever altered. The case stood not only as a fictional account of violence, but as a stark reminder of how addiction and instability can corrode even the strongest bonds, turning love into tragedy.